Yeah, I mean it's great to play, highly meaningful games, and that's, as a competitor, it's what you're searching for, and I know our players are excited about it as well. It's a new start. We're thrilled again with the non-conference, and that's the past, and now it's time to move on. And we've had a couple of tough years in the Pac-12, and you got to reflect on that before you start, this season in the Pac-12, and you got to remember back to 2 years ago and a year ago in some of these games, and hopefully you remember that as you're preparing for this season, top to bottom, the entire Pac-12 schedule.
Are there any consciously deliver that message to the players that this is sort of a reset button and things can change dramatically?
I don't. I mean, again, I don't see on the practice floor and in my interactions with the players are players changing at all. All I see is guys that are hungry, guys that are highly motivated, guys that are practicing hard, that are playing unselfish. And as a coach, that's all you want, regardless of the success or failure. You just you hope that your team stays true to what their beliefs are. And when I got the guys back from the holiday and they were able to go home and spend a couple of days with their families, which was great. We've had some really, really good practices, so I feel great about where we are. We have not changed who we are since the last time we were out on the court.
What lessons have you learned the last couple of years going down to Tucson and going to take with you on Saturday?
I mean, I don't particularly can come up with anything at the moment. It's a great environment. They have great fans that love their team and support their team, and it's a good place to play as any in college basketball. So they get great support. They got a great coach. They have talented players. They have they've won 6 in a row, and they're continuing to get better like you would hope. So it's a big challenge, and but this is this season. What we've done speaks for itself, and it gives me confidence as a coach, to go to most places that we're going to have to go because of what the guys have given me this year. When you have 2 of the best point guards in college basketball on your team, and they're seniors and they've been through a lot of big games, then you're excited to go anywhere and play anybody. Yeah, I mean, coaches, have nightmares thinking about, a guy like Aiton and his skill set and how valuable he is to their team. And so, yeah, I mean, we've watched a lot of film on him, and we're just gonna, we're gonna do the best job we can. And you can't give him a steady diet of anything defensively. So, hopefully we've put in a plan that that could. Hang in there and do the best we can. But at the same time, again, we've had, we've played against, big players. Kansas, their center was a pretty physical, dominating type of center, and Romello White and Lake, were up for the challenge. So you just hope that, that your guys are ready for it. Yeah, I mean his athleticism and his in this game like this, you got to get rim level rebounds. You got to get you got to be a man and go up there and grab it, or else I'm sure that Arizona will. And Daquan in our big games, particularly in the second half of some of our big games, Xavier and Kansas, he's gotten some blocks around the basket and some rebounds, and he's had a very good week, and we hope that he could provide a spark for us in those areas.
You faced Alonzo already twice, I believe. How is this season different? He's elevated his game this season, so how are you preparing?
Yeah, he's a tough guard too. I mean, he's because his great first step and his athleticism, getting to the rack, and then his 3-point shot is very good and even better at McHale. So. He's a multi-dimensional threat. He can do a lot of things for their team, and he's a big game guy. He's shown over his career that he's up for a big game. Well, I mean, it's you know, you just want to have great practices. You just want to have your team playing well. You want to, you know, go over everything you think is important to the matchup, and then let the chips fall. You know, when you go there, I just you know, everywhere we've been, you know, the guys have stepped up to, you know, in big games and have performed, and you know, I have a strong feeling that that'll be the same on Saturday night. What's that? I mean, you could tell. I mean, these guys, they're confident guys. They're competitors. They're winners. They want the big game. They, you know, it's easy. It's easier for me as a coach to get them ready to play this game or Kansas or Xavier or St. John's or Kansas State than it is to some of our other opponents. You know, just because they want the best competition and they want to challenge themselves. And we do it every day in practice. So it's not like we just see a good team on game day. Like, they see a good team every day because of our second unit and how these guys compete day in and day out. I didn't watch those games, and I only watched the games, the most recent games, the games where they've played very well, the games where they've gotten their a big part of who they are in Hawkins back into the lineup, and so I didn't go to the Bahamas as well as they, you know. I don't know if that makes any sense, but no. What's that? Yeah, I mean, Mickey has been as good as he's been all year and this week, and you know, he looks terrific. He's playing great, doing all the things we need him to do. He's got a jump start on Kamani because of Kamani's injury and trying to get back to where he is. And you know, he looked. Kamani got some good live reps today and is progressing and going in the right direction. But I'm excited to bring a guy on the bus with me like Mitchell, you know, because he's not going to be afraid of this game, and he's a tough dude and a hard-nosed guy, and so I'm excited about having him on in this game. Well, Mickey's just a versatile player. Mickey does a lot of things well. He rebounds at a very good level on both ends, and you know, he's a very good passer and almost kind of like a point forward guy, and you know, understands our defensive concepts and really, you know, looks for the guards out there on the perimeter. He could find an open teammate, you know, from the forward spot, and he's kind of a guy that could go off the dribble some against some bigger matchups at the 4 spot. So there's a lot of versatility that we could use with Mickey. Kamani's similar, and Kamani, you know, played more of a true wing for us and more of a guard than the 4 in a lot of our preseason. So, but he's long enough and big enough to play multi-position. So he does kind of some of the same things that Mickey would do. I just think they have a great system. They believe in it. They you know, defensively, you see trademark defensive actions from Arizona, how they play ball screens, how, you know, they're in the right position, how they rebound, they defend with energy. You know, you watch games, and when they don't defend with that energy, you know, Coach Miller's calling that timeout, and he's letting everyone know about it. So it's a priority, and they take pride in it. And then on offense, you know, I think that they know, you know, how to utilize their players, and they have a really good plan to, you know, get the ball in the hands of their best players. Well, I mean, we just, I think, have to be who we are. You know, we just, those guys don't have to do anything more than what they've been doing all year in terms of, you know, finding their creases to get into the defense. You know, if the shot's there for them, then they should take it. If it's a great shot, otherwise, you know, look to move the ball to a teammate. That's been, you know, our willingness to make the extra pass and make the defense make it, you know, multiple rotations has eventually gotten us a good shot, and I've been seeing that, you know, on the practice floor, and and hopefully that'll be there on Saturday. I mean, it's still too early because today he's, again, he got a lot of reps. He had reps with the first unit, and he was moving very well. And I have to see how he responds to that. This is, the most practice time that he's gotten, since the injury. So, I'll know more when I see him tomorrow, and then we'll get him another day, and then it's going to go right down to the wire if he's going to be available. I mean, there's always more. I remember when I played that you'd go to the store and a Carolina fan might heckle you, or it could happen at any moment. You go to movies and you're playing Carolina or your own people. Hey, who's coming here soon. And even it was even more elevated for me if it was a Cameron Indoor and I would see the students camped out for 2 weeks getting ready for that game. So, like a day or two before, I'd go run the stadium, man, just so I made sure that my mind was in the right place, for that game. And all the players are different, how they prepare and how they're going to get themselves ready to. But there is a fine line between, being ready to play and being too hyped to play. You gotta know who you are and find the right space for that. I mean, I haven't given it a ton of thought, to be honest. It's I don't know. It's like the baseball movie, I think, with Kevin Costner, where he's pitching. It's like clear the mechanism, and then I'm like, I kind of hear things, but I don't really hear a lot, and that's kind of when I'm in my zone and what I do. I kind of just focus on what's happening between the lines because it's there's a lot going on. So if I'm not locked into that, and if I'm focusing on what the fans are doing, then I can't do my job.
I know Arizona has a ton of size. Does that change your game plan? Because I know you tend to go to that four-guard lineup. Does it change?
I coach, by feel, and my players dictate and determine who's out on the floor based on circumstances, and it's hard to even project that right now. I don't know what's going to happen in terms of how we're playing early in the game, who's playing well, who might have fouls issues, and all these things factor into, what lineups go on the floor. But we've practiced with a number of different ways that we could play now that we're getting healthy and we're getting guys back like Mickey Mitchell. He's a multi-position guy that we could use to go bigger or go smaller and still not lose a lot from a size standpoint.
Coach, it seems like teams with a lot of one-and-done guys, they have to kind of form a new identity every year. Like Arizona, losing some guys last year, bringing in new guys. You have a lot of the same guys coming back from last year. Do you feel like that's going to give you guys an advantage for having to kind of reform an identity as a team?
Yeah, I think it's so much easier to coach when you got people like Trey Holder, Shannon Evans, Cody Justice that are so push button to coach and they show up and work hard and they're at an elite level of talent and they produce on the court, and your younger players see them every day, how they go about their business, how they work, how they train, and then it just kind of carries over and it makes it easier to build a culture and for your younger guys to just know what it's all about. And so you certainly having really good, strong leaders in your program is a definite big bonus.